What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Janelle, and in today's video, I am going to be talking about the Amtrak Lincoln service train and my experience when it was delayed. Let's hop right into it. The Lincoln service is part of Amtrak's Illinois Midwestern train route. They offer 4 daily round trips between Chicago and St. Louis. The ride should average about 5 hours if it leaves on time and arrives on time. And you can find these with the 300 to 302 coaches or the 305 to the 307. I was on number 305. These routes are on the newly updated Siemens Venture coaches. They are quite nice. The coaches are clean, modern, and comfortable. Remember that this is a short haul trip, and they are one level. Some might say that train travel is not only cheaper, but it could be better than driving or flying from Chicago to St. Louis. What I was able to do was pull up Amtrak's site, and you're going to see that they have coach and business class seating. There are no private rooms for the Lincoln service train. As you can see, coach class is going to be about $25, and then business class goes to $65. It could be higher depending on when you are booking. A perk that Amtrak used to give this route would be if you had a business class ticket, you would automatically be able to go to the Amtrak lounge in Chicago. It was included in your ticket. But now, if you have business class, you are going to have to pay an additional fee if you want to sit at the Metropolitan Lounge in Chicago. They changed it, y'all. And you can get that with the day pass. This day pass is not offered for purchase if you have coach class. Sorry. And you can get that day pass if you're a business class passenger for $35. The next tip, with these trains, you want to leave at the earliest time available that they have listed. You want to leave from where it has originated because you are going to be the first person boarding the train. There aren't going to be other people who had come from other destinations and you have to, step over them. You are the first passenger. When you are the first to leave in the morning, you're probably going to run into less delays. A lot of the delays happen later at night, you guys. And it's the same if you're going in reverse from St. Louis to Chicago. If you are doing that Lincoln service, try to take the first train out. Real quick, I'm going to give one of my subscribers a belated happy birthday. What's up, Nadia? Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I enjoy reading your comments, and I hope you had a great birthday. Any other summer birthdays? Happy birthday to y'all too. Go ahead and hit the like button if you're enjoying this video. Next, let's get into the specific route from Chicago to St. Louis. Earlier, I mentioned that this is a short distance train. The updated Siemens coaches, they can go up to speeds about 110, but that does not mean that the train is going to be going at that speed the entire duration of the ride. I mean, in some instances, it might go up to 100, maybe 102. You're not going to be Speedy Gonzalez all the way southbound to St. Louis. It's just not going to work like that. The route should average 5 hours. Later, I will get into what happened with me and why I did not get there in 5 hours' time. As I said, the Siemens Venture coaches are quite nice. There's nothing better than stepping onto a train and smelling the new seats, looking at the aisles. The aisles have also been widened due to ADA. It makes it easier for those with disabilities to walk down the aisle. A wheelchair can fit comfortably through as you are going to your seat. This does mean that the seats are a bit smaller pitch. Some have complained about the seats padding. It's not as comfortable as the previous models. I like it. It's very modern and sleek. And you guys know that Europe train travel is top notch. I am so glad that they were able to help us with these venture coaches. If you've traveled in Florida, you're going to notice that this is very similar to the Brightline trains that they have there. Those are Siemens coaches as well. The seats have power outlets. There's going to be USB ports. I like to get a seat to myself, if comfortable, a row to myself, because they have you seated in twos. I mean, it's pretty comfortable. The only thing is that the train is very freezing cold. It doesn't matter what time of the year you are traveling. So not only do you want to wear some clothes that are going to keep you warm, but I would also travel with a blanket just because those vents, it's going to be right above you, and it's like that the whole time, unless you like cold air. The restrooms on the Lincoln Service train are spacious. They are looking to be well maintained and clean. I don't like when you go into the train bathroom and you see toilet paper just sprawled out on the floor. People might not have put their paper towels from drying off their hands in the trash can, and so it just looks messy. That was not the case on the Lincoln Service train. Each time that I went in there, it was well maintained. So shout out to the Lincoln Service crew for keeping the bathrooms nice and tidy. Also, on these newer models, when you're moving from train to train, you do want to take some precaution. Before, you could just use the button that's at the bottom. You could kick it with your foot and the doors would open. Now it has changed. You aren't doing that anymore. Also, when you are standing on that little platform, you do not want to be bending down, putting your hand on it. Remember, you are on a moving train, okay? So you want to make sure that you are standing up, you are keeping your balance, and if you need to move from train to train, that you are doing this with caution. Be careful, especially if you have children with you, the elderly. You want to be mindful of this. The platforms are different. They used to have those yellow, it's like a little step, and it would be difficult if you're trying to haul up your luggage because, you know, they don't really have bellhop unless you're doing, I didn't have no bellhop service, so I'm doing all this by myself. So you have to step on the yellow stool, then put your luggage up, then hoist yourself up. Now it is much easier, and it's like they have a built-in ramp for you to get onto the train, and it is not as much of a struggle. On the Zephyr, that little yellow stool, I even saw it in the train. It was just tossed to the side. I was like, man, I'm tired of seeing these yellow stools. Here's hoping that the long distance trains will get upgraded to the Siemens. Man, that would be delightful. Things to do on the train. I have mentioned this in my Amtrak California Zephyr video. If you haven't watched, go ahead and take a look there. And it's going to be similar. You might want to socialize if you are feeling friendly. You can read, you can watch movies. There is Wi-Fi on the train, and depending on where you're crossing, it was pretty good. I traveled in the evening, so I did have access to the Wi-Fi. And when we were stalled for a few hours, that really helped me out. Okay, so you can read books, you can bring your tablets, you can play games, you can write in your journal, listen to music. There's so many different things that you can do on the train. You can sleep if you are one of those who can sleep in cold temperatures. I did not sleep on this train. Something else that you can do is track the train route. Okay, you can go to Amtrak. They have a train tracker site. There's other sites that you can look at too, so that you can see what time you departed your station and when you are expected to arrive. They will usually update it with information if there is the delay too as well. I'm going to quickly talk about both train stations on the Lincoln Service route, depending on where you are departing from. So if you are departing from Chicago, you have the Chicago Union Station, and that is a great place for you to explore. There's many activities there. Like I was mentioning, the Metropolitan Lounge is one of the best that I've seen. And I'm going to go ahead and even say Chicago's Union Station is one of the best train stations that I have visited in all of the US. I would really prefer all of my trips to be departing from Chicago because of that. It just is what it is. I am very impressed. It is so beautiful. You can go sit in the Great Hall. You can go to the food court. You can maybe even venture outside, go get a Chicago hot dog, walk around, get some pizza. This is a great city for you to explore if this is your first time taking Amtrak. And if you have more time, I would advise you to explore the Loop. You have lots of public transportation in Chicago as well. So definitely check that out if you're leaving from Chicago. Getting into the St. Louis station, I did not explore there as much because I had an interesting situation. Of course, with St. Louis, riding in and being able to see the arch is a delight. This was at night, so I missed that. Going around St. Louis has a lot of museums. This is a a city that I would say could be for Black travelers, which is good as well. There's lots of Black history sites to explore. And specifically about the station, this station does not have a fancy lounge like the Metropolitan, but they do offer private waiting rooms. There are specific train stations that Amtrak has throughout the US that offer private waiting rooms for customers that have the business class ticket. And does that work for coach? I'm not sure if coach passengers can go to the private waiting rooms. With these rooms, you do want to check the hours. They might be closed if you are arriving later in the evening. And I do want to thank everyone at Amtrak, the counter staff, the shuttle drivers, everyone who assisted me during the delay with the Lincoln service, especially at the St. Louis station. You guys really made my stay a much more memorable one when, the situation was kind of negative. So thank you to St. Louis. Y'all hooked the sister up, okay? And we might as well get into it now, the delay. I arrived to St. Louis 3 hours behind schedule, and I ended up missing my connection. I've mentioned before how Amtrak does not own the tracks. Union Pacific does with the Midwestern train routes. So what happens is those freight trains are going to have priority over the Amtrak trains, and you just have to sit and wait. I cannot remember if this was from Chicago to Joliet or wherever it was, but the train was not moving at all. We were just sitting there. All right. Remember, I was saying things to do on the train, especially if you are in a delay. You want to have your devices charged and you just got to wait it out. There isn't really much you can do. We weren't at a stop where we could just get out and stretch our legs. We were just on the train. I did not go to the cafe car. More on that later in the food section. So I was just sitting in my seat. I was pulling up the train tracker and I was like, what is going on with this train? Why are we not in St. Louis? I don't know, y'all. It was a crazy delay. When I got to the St. Louis station, the counter was closed and they were saying the next person would be there at around 3 a.m. or something. So I'm like, man, I don't even know what to do. I missed my connection from St. Louis. And basically her options were you can wait here at the station at 3 a.m. in the morning. You can wait for the next connection to leave, or we can put you in a hotel. Amtrak does have a delay policy when it is their fault, their mistake, and they will put you up in a hotel. They'll give you food vouchers, and it's no problem. So I decided to go to the hotel. They put me in the Holiday Inn, which was downtown. I thought it was a nice hotel. I mean, I didn't have to pay anything for it. Amtrak also provided a shuttle for me to get to the hotel. And they also gave me food that was at, how the hotels have their own restaurant. After you've been delayed on a train, it is nice to be able to get up, stretch, move around, go into a nice, comfortable hotel, take a shower, and just relax. COVID, sorry, y'all. I'm negative now. I'm negative. You just know how you have that lasting cough afterwards. So I was able to shower and rest, and then I was able to get my connection the next day out after I had a long, long rest. Here is a portion of me talking about it. Room for now until when I leave for the next connection, which is 2 a.m. Tomorrow. So I'm just gonna go to sleep. Even though there was a delay, I know it's out of my control, out of y'all's control. So I appreciate y'all putting me up in a hotel. Thank you, Amtrak. When you are traveling solo by yourself, even if you are with a family or in a group, you want to expect the unexpected. This is one of my favorite quotes from Big Brother. Shout out to Julie Chen. You want to be flexible because you do not know if a train is going to have a delay, and it can throw all of your plans off. In fact, I'm even going to say if you are traveling for something very important where you cannot miss the event, do not take the train. Like, I would advise you to take a plane, but planes have delays too, or drive if it is somewhere immediate that you cannot miss. I would not take that gamble with the train because there's so much uncertainty and you don't want to miss an event because of a train delay, okay? On the Lincoln Service train, they have the Midwest Hub Cafe. As far as food options, I would think of this as snacks that you would get from a gas station for food and drink. I did not indulge in any of those. I believe that I had a pretty satisfying meal in Chicago before I got on the train, so I was good to go with that. And then when I got to St. Louis, the restaurant was closed because it was in the middle of the night. I got there like what 3:30 a.m. and then I ate breakfast in the morning at the Holiday Inn. That evening, I ended up going to I went to El Burro Loco. It was a Mexican restaurant that was like steps from the Holiday Inn. Being downtown is great because you have so many options. I would suggest if you want to check out the city of St. Louis, do that and maybe spend a night in one of the hotels downtown. You can get a good night's rest and then take your 5-hour train northbound to Chicago. That cafe was a no. I would bring your own food and drink rather than partaking of what they have. As far as liquor, I do not think you can bring. Can you bring liquor on Amtrak? I think it's a no. I don't think you can because they have it for purchase. You don't want to be caught with that. Eat in St. Louis, you're downtown, just look up the different restaurants that they have and you pick what you have a taste for. If you're going to be in Chicago, I really love the food scene in Chicago. It is great for vegans and vegetarians. You can always pull up Happy Cow and find places to go. Make sure you get a Portillo's hot dog, and no, it is not going to have ketchup on it. Lastly, I would advise you to join Amtrak's Guest Rewards. You're going to be able to collect points that you can use on future trips. And if you are traveling first class or business class, you will be given access. Well, never mind. I was going to say you will be given access to the private waiting rooms if the station has them, but you would be able to purchase the day pass for the lounges that they have. Definitely at the Chicago. I know it's probably, is it New York and maybe DC? I believe that they are charging for day passes now, which is unfortunate, but those are Amtrak's rules. Check out the Guest Rewards program. Thank you again to everyone who watched my Amtrak video. I believe that train travel is one of the best ways to explore the U.S. If you have any questions about Amtrak or any suggestions about any of the routes, I have covered the Zephyr. Now I'm talking about the Lincoln service, and I am looking to explore more of what Amtrak has. Anybody know about the Empire Builder? I would love to ride that one. And then, of course, the East Coast as well. I was sick with COVID, but my voice is here. I did not lose it. So I am back to start out Q3 with you all. Thank you all for, again, supporting the channel. I appreciate you guys being here, and I'm going to see you next week.